Did you wonder why the mutant mommy is here and what her purpose is? Or did you find it strange what Astro Juggernaut is doing here? And did anyone notice that the Astro toilets use Alliance technology? And what if I tell you that Titan cameraman will be rescued soon? And whether this chair will start its evil arc or not? And was the scientist really an Astro toilet? In general, in this video, I'm going to answer these questions, and we will also talk in detail about the plot of episode 76. There will be a lot of important details and information in the video, so if you want to know more, be sure to stay until the end. Hello friends, you're on the channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button under the video to speed up the release of the next video. And let's go. And let's start with this wonderful lady and what brings her to this place. At the beginning of the episode, we saw ordinary toilets that seemed to be in hibernation as they didn't understand what was going on here and why the Astro toilets were attacking them. And we can assume that this city was captured by them long ago. And it may seem like Mommy was sent here to help her friends in this fight, but she wasn't. But the agents have come to clean up the city. But it seems that the Astro toilets also decided to check out what is going on here as well. But in fact, they had a special mission, which I will tell you about later. And we saw that Mommy knows this place very well, which confirms that the toilets took over this city a long time ago. And it seems that she suspected that the Astro toilets might be headed here, and she went here on the G-Man's order. And after the agents were able to defeat the Astro puppy, we saw that she took his gun with her. And for some reason, we didn't wonder why she took the gun. And by the way, this is the same gravity gun that Cameraman uses in Dom Studios' Skbidi multiverse, and it's basically the standard gravity gun from Half-Life. Only Boom converted it into a regular laser gun for Astro toilets. And it's the gun that Mommy came here for. And it's probably the gun that will be used to make G-Toilet a Titan. Or it's the gun that will be used for other special soldiers like Rizzy Toilet and SWAT Mutant. And it seems to me that this gun can penetrate even the shield that the Astro toilets use. And she was originally ordered to capture the Astro's technology, because if the Astro toilets don't care about the agents and toilets technology, the best option is to use their own technology against them. But I noticed something crazy, because if we go back to the beginning of episode 75 and look at these two guys, we can see the same thing that Titan Cameraman has. And honestly, we do not know what this thing is and why it is needed. But the fact that this sign is also on the Astro toilets is suspicious. But honestly, this is not the first time we see this sign. And in episode 51, it was on the Astro's wing. And I've always wondered why we see this mark so often, but there could be two reasons. First is that Boom just uses these parts for different models, and it doesn't mean anything. Or the other is that this mark really means something, because it looks like he is not intentionally hiding this mark, and I think he could easily remove this mark if he wanted to. Is it possible that Cameraman is related to the Astro toilets? Actually, I doubt there is any connection between them, and I have no idea why we see this sign on them. But this could mean that the regular Astro toilets use some Cameraman technology. And it is important to note that only such fighter jets have this mark. Although Juggernaut and his pup did not have this mark. And I can assume that the weaker Astro Scouts are marked with this mark and may be using some Alliance technology. But this is just my theory, so be sure to write what you think about it in the comments. But why did the Juggernaut and the other Astro toilets appear here? In fact, it's obvious to me that they are now trying to find the TV's headquarters. And no one is better suited for this mission than the Juggernaut, since he can look through walls with a device in his helmet. And I've mentioned before that it doesn't matter how strong the Astro toilets are because there's no point if they can't find the agent's headquarters. And the agents will hide until they come up with a good plan. And in episode 74, the TV scientist specifically said that Daddy would turn off the camera, not so that the agents wouldn't see their lab, but because the Astro toilets could grab one of the cameramen and find out the location of their headquarters. And maybe the TV's headquarters is underground and the Astro toilets somehow found out about it. And now they are sending a reconnaissance squad led by Juggernaut to find the location of the Alliance bases. Also with your help, I noticed that at the end of the episode, Mommy was attacked by Juggernaut, and it was his energy ball with crazy explosive power that he used against the Speaker Man in episode 72. But we have an unanswered question about Juggernaut's identity. Is he a cat or a dog or a human? We were convinced that animals can be toilets, and that was shocking news to us. But the funny thing is that the puppy has a tail. But the big Juggernaut doesn't have a tail, and that confuses us. And we have at least 3 possibilities as to who he is. Either he's a human, in which case it would make sense that the puppy was his favorite pet, and that's why he called him Baby. Or Bro is also a dog, but just without the tail. Or Defuk removed it on purpose so we wouldn't suspect it. I mean, he removed the helmet from the Astro toilet we saw in the leak so we wouldn't realize it was an Astro toilet. It could be the same with the tail that he removed it so we wouldn't suspect him of being a cat. Because, you know, when we first saw that paw, we immediately started saying that dude was a cat, because just at the same time, Boom in the interview said that the skbidi cat might be back on the show. And so the third option is that he's a cat. And maybe he raised this puppy from the day it was born, and that's why he called it Baby. But I will say that the fact that the dog had a tail is not logical, because in fact toilets do not have their own body. It is just a toilet and a head that comes out of it. And he cannot have a tail, because all that remains of his body is only the head, and everything else is created with the help of technology. And from this we can conclude that the Astro puppy was not fully toilet but only half. Rather, he was a hybrid. But Skibidi Cat is a real toilet, and he does not have a tail because of the fact that his body is left only head. In any case, I think that all the masked toilets are animals, since they basically use these masks because of their long noses and to hide their faces. So it makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is the fact that the Juggernaut can talk. And as we know, animals can't talk, which could also mean he's human, and Boom confused us with his mask. In short, we do not understand anything at all. I'm getting confused in these facts, as each fact destroys another fact. So let's wait for the moment when Boom will show us his real face. But what about the Skibidi scientist? On this poster, you can see the same iron ring on the back of his head as the Astro toilets. And does that mean he could be an Astro? Actually, it's hard to say yes or no. Some people say it could be just a background. Many say he could be an Astro toilet. But if he is an Astro toilet, why didn't he create a new body for G-Man earlier? And why didn't he use Astro technology to improve the regular toilets? Actually, the scientist had technologies that are similar to the Astro's technology. And remember the glitch toilet that moved at the same crazy speed as Astro toilets? And you wondered why the scientist did not create more such toilets. I think the reason is that he does not have the necessary materials to create the same inventions. The Astro toilets themselves and their technology is on a completely different level and the like we have not seen before. Dudes move at crazy speeds, kill agents in 2 seconds with some kind of sound wave, and much more. Perhaps their bodies are created with some special material that is not on our planet, and therefore the scientist could not create something new because he did not have these materials. And perhaps in this contract there was a deal that Astro will share materials, and the scientist will do something in return. Also, the theory that the scientist has no materials is supported by a mutant mommy who just collects Astro's body parts, which means the toilets don't have the same technology and materials. Also, before Boom wanted to replace the scientist with G-Man, and as you can see at that moment, G-Man was an Astro toilet, which could mean that the scientist is also an Astro toilet. Anyways, so far it's a mystery and we don't know anything yet. But personally, I think there's a chance that the scientist could be an Astro toilet, but write what you think about it. But what about this chair? People are literally freaking out and even trolling about the new chairman race, and that's insane. But here's a theory from my subscriber. What if the chair and mysterious figure that was in the background on the building that disappeared in episode 75 are linked to a new race? First, the mysterious figure in episode 74, then this figure. From the way the chair kept reappearing, the new race could have an invisibility power or something. It could explain why the figure in 74 was only visible while TV Daddy was teleporting, and why the chair kept appearing all over in 75, yet no one was on it and around it. We should remember that races appearing like that, spying from far away like that. The TV men did the same thing before revealing themselves. Thanks for the theory, and I totally agree with you. And I said in my analysis of episode 75 that this could be a clue to a new race. By the way, also make sure to check my analysis of episode 75 because it was very detailed and funny. The dude who was in episode 74 looks like a computer man or microwave man, but it's probably a computer man because we had too many clues to this race. And I think the microwave was just a troll. And in episode 75, we see the same dude again. And it's not a secret agent because he has a square head like a monitor. And there's a computer chair rolling around in the streets. And before the TV men showed up, they were watching the agents from the shadows, just like this dude is watching right now, which to me is a pretty obvious clue to a new race. But as always, write your thoughts on this. But let's talk about the possible plot of episode 76 and future episodes, and why Titan Cameraman will be saved. In episode 75, we saw an alliance between the agents and the toilets. And as it usually happens, the toilets decided to start with a small alliance. Because even in real life, any alliance starts with small steps, and it'll be easier for the little agents and the toilets to make friends. Because it is unlikely that Top G could convince Titan TV Man to unite them, as he has already tried to do. And the thing is that even in this situation, TV Man will not agree to an alliance between them. And there are only 2 ways to convince him. Either he has to save the TV Man from the Astro toilets, or he has to save the Titan Cameraman. And it's more likely that he'll save Titan Cameraman, and then the other Titans will have no choice but to unite. But the question is, can Gmail stand up to a whole Astro squad to save Cameraman? It's hard to say, and it's more like no than yes. But that's only if he fights the whole squad. But if there are 2 or 3 toilets, I think he can easily defeat them in Titan form. And we saw in episode 75 that half of the squad and the Juggernaut are now destroying the city, so the other half of the squad is busy doing something else. So G-Man in Titan form will try to defeat them, But maybe his alliance with agents start even faster and G-Man together with TV Man will save Cameraman. But about episode 76, I have a few options. The first possibility is that we'll see a direct continuation of episode 75, where we'll see where Mommy will take our agents. Maybe we'll see G-Man in this episode, because she's obviously taking this gun to G-Man because he needs it for upgrades, or for Kleiner to adapt this weapon for regular toilets. The second option is that we will finally see the Speakerman base, and episode 76 is literally the most suitable episode for this event. Since already episode 77 will be epic, and I think that it will be the battle of Titans and G-Man against Astro Toilets. But there is another option that we will finally see a camera woman with survivors. Honestly, many have already forgotten about this storyline, but it will also be interesting because among them there is an imposter who almost exploded because he wanted to sing a skbidi song. But we know what will happen to him if he tries to do something bad.